Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Bert's Bike. Today we're going over some issues that you might need to know before purchasing this bike. A 2022 model, maybe even a 2023 model, we'll see. Okay, the first one is a lot of the bikes shipped with faulty fuel pumps. So if you have problems starting your bike or it's just hesitating to start or whatever, you probably got a faulty fuel pump. Mine was replaced, and shortly after it was replaced, Indian sent a recall notice, so I'm still waiting to see if the new fuel pump is under the recall or not, and it might need to be changed again. So that's one issue you might want to know about. And the second issue are the front forks. So the front forks on this bike are pretty noisy and they rattle around a little bit, but they also click whenever they're compressed. So on a normal ride you're just not going to notice that. Also, if you have loud pipes, you probably won't notice that. But with the stock pipes, you definitely notice the forks clicking when you hit I wouldn't even say a significant bump, just like anything just bumpy, like if you have like little divots in the road or whatever. You definitely notice them clicking. Or if you're pulling into your driveway and your driveway has a little incline or whatever, when you hit that incline, you'll notice it clicking. Indian has said it's not an operational problem, but it's just there. I've had the forks replaced twice, actually. I have to say the first set of forks were the worst ones, and then after the next two are about the same when they got replaced, but they still click, and maybe I'll cut to that right now. The third issue with this motorcycle was a lot of the batteries are kind of terrible from Polaris. The batteries are covered for I think a year or two, and sometimes they fail, sometimes they don't, so it's kind of hit or miss. It's also kind of hit or miss with the fuel pump until this recall. So basically you got the starter issue, which is a big deal because you don't ever want to get stranded on your motorcycle. The second issue is the fork issue, which is just kind of sucks, especially for a bike at this price point. There are many other motorcycles with much less cost that are shipping with forks that are very, very quiet. So let's talk about that suspension a little bit here. So the suspension isn't bad actually from the factory. It just has that noise issue or that clickiness. It's not a big deal. It just kind of sucks at this price point. I mean, the base Chief I think started at 14.5 or 15, something like that, and then depending on what paint you get or ABS, it adds a couple more thousands. And then also there's freight and then like another fee from Indian, and then I guess plus whatever the dealer fees are. So all in all, if you buy a $15,000 bike with taxes and everything, I mean, you're pushing $18,000 or so. Now let's talk about my particular bike. So the things that affected me, the fuel pump. And honestly, from day one when I bought my bike, I thought that it was a little weak starting, but it always started. After a while, I started noticing more frequent start hesitations where the bike would try to start and then just kind of flame out. Now the flame out thing does happen on other bikes regularly, even if your fuel pump works correctly, but on my bike it was happening pretty often, and I could recreate the issue. So I would drive to work, a 25-minute drive to work, go into work for 4 or 5 hours, come out to start the bike, and it just would hesitate. So it was something to do with when the bike was heated up and you would walk out to start the bike, whatever was going on with the bike at a certain temperature or temperatures, it would just hesitate to start. So I don't know. So definitely they had some quality control issues happening here in 2022, or 2021, 2022, kind of like in the pandemic to out of the pandemic. So obviously supply chain stuff is still going on. Personally, I would rather wait another month or two than have my bike sort of cobbled together. So with all those issues, there was just little things here and there that kind of I would say soured the buying experience and made me think twice about owning the motorcycle. In my original video, I kind of go over some of the quality control issues and stuff that they had. You know, some of the paint wasn't perfect in places and stuff like that, and fit and finish. So I think that'll be on a case-per-case basis. I have to say that Indian corporate and the dealership really kind of bent over backwards to help me right all these issues with the bike and everything. So I've never got that level of service from any other bike manufacturer, and I've owned at this point probably 10 or so motorcycles from different manufacturers, and a majority of them have been bought brand new with the factory warranty. Good to know that Indian cares enough about their customers to fix or rectify issues, which is great. And then the last little small issue I've had with my motorcycle is when you go to change ride modes, sometimes the right trigger takes a couple of presses to kind of get moving. So right now it goes instantly, but sometimes when you go to change things, it takes a couple of clicks or whatever. And you know, that could, I don't use that switch very much, so that could be something where, like, you know, the bike is just the switch itself, you know, has maybe some dirt in it or whatever, and just needs to be worked loose. But talking to other people on the forum, they have had issues with theirs and have even gotten them replaced. And one of the guys who's a little more tech savvy than me said, like, when you have this sort of system, I think they call it a CAN bus system, is that it's kind of par for the course. You know, sometimes it's super responsive, sometimes it takes a minute for it to work or whatever, but that's another issue. So let's tally all that up. So you had your fit and finish issues, oil leak, had the forks replaced twice, but still kind of clicking. The tank was replaced due to paint issues. The primary cover was replaced due to paint issues as well on that. What else? The fuel pump was replaced and might be even replaced again. This bike has 2,764 miles on the ticker and has been in the shop a lot. Granted, none of the issues were catastrophic issues, you know, the engine didn't blow up or anything, but issues nonetheless for a new bike. So I just wanted to make this video so that if you were interested in that, those would be things you would kind of look out for. Now, since owning this bike, and I've been to the dealership a lot, there have been other chiefs there, and some of the fit and finish issues are not present on some bikes, and some they are on other bikes. There's you know, just little things here and there. If you are interested in knowing what motorcycle Indian has the least problems with, it would be the Indian Scout. So the question is, with these issues, should you buy this bike? Yes, I think you should. Just know that you may have some of those issues, you know, riding over into, I guess, the 2023 model year. But the other thing I want to say is, no matter what brand of motorcycle you pick, you don't really want to be testing the limits of the bike right away when you first get it. You want to ride it around casually, you know, for at least 1,000 miles until you know you can trust the motorcycle. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this shed some light on some issues that you may have with your 2022 Indian Chief. So with that said, this is Bert's Bike. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.